Carolina Insider is presented by Wells Fargo, official sponsor of Carolina Athletics.
We're back. Time for another edition of the Carolina Insider. Jones and Adam here with you. Thanks so much for joining us. We have a lot to do, including, Adam, one of maybe the most popular Tar Heels ever, our guest today. We're going to talk to Marcus Paige here in just a little bit. I think people really enjoy that.
You could either love him as a basketball player or he might be the future president. Really, he could do both. Whatever he wants to do is fine.
He checks all the boxes, including talking with us. So we're going to talk to Marcus coming up in just a little bit. We're going to talk football, basketball, women's basketball here at the beginning. And then after we talk to Marcus, we'll have our social drive too. Adam, let's start with Carolina football. And earlier this week, season tickets went on sale for the upcoming 2021 season. A lot of excitement for Carolina football, of course, on the way. And in fact, have a fun little video here just to get your blood pumping a little bit.
It's intercepted. Tony Grimes. All alone, end zone touchdown. Josh Downs. Tamon Fox rips him down.
We're so excited about the direction of this program. But what we're most excited about is the potential of having 50,500 of our closest friends screaming and cheering in Kenan Stadium this fall. We're going to have a lot of fun, so we want you to renew or buy your new season tickets today.
So 2021 football, Adam, it feels really close. We still got to grind through this offseason, but obviously a lot of excitement coming up for Carolina football. And you heard Coach Brown, a key word there was potential. We hope to have a bunch of people in Kenan Stadium coming up in the fall.
My blood is pumping incredibly hard.
Nice.
Well, when you see all those people in the stands and you remember all the players Carolina has coming back, it really is difficult to not get excited about what should be one of the most fun Carolina football seasons in certainly our recent memory. Looking forward to a big time.
Some medicine for that, actually, if you need some help with it. Also, a game that Carolina is playing next year, not in Kenan Stadium, is against Georgia Tech down in Atlanta. And Adam, big news this week as that game is being moved off of Georgia Tech's campus into the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, the giant dome down there in Atlanta. And you and I talked about this on the latest version of the audio podcast. There are a ton of Tar Heels in the Atlanta area, and now an opportunity for them to come see Carolina play.
This is hashtag power of the pod at its best. We sort of mentioned this idea. Next thing you know, a couple days later, it happens. Feels like it helps Carolina to get the game off campus, away from Georgia Tech. That's a relatively tough place to play. And as Jones said, seats 71,000. You would think you could probably find 20,000 Tar Heel fans, at least in the Atlanta area. So that could be kind of a pseudo road game at an important point in the schedule for the Tar Heels.
One piece of coaching news for Carolina football this past week as well. Robert Gillespie, Carolina's running backs coach, took another job at the college level. And so Adam, Tar Heels needed to fill the position, and they did so with a terrific hire and a face and a name that Tar Heel fans will probably remember in Larry Porter. Coach Porter was here in Chapel Hill from 2014 to 16, and you can see the resume there. He is a terrific recruiter and a terrific coach.
And I think it helps that you're not making some jarring change here. You've got a coach who's familiar with the place. He knows how to recruit to Carolina. He's familiar with Mack Brown. All these things make him a good fit on a staff that already had a lot of good fits. I don't think at this point in time you want to bring in a completely fresh new face. Larry Porter will be able to hit the ground running.
All right, let's transition now to National Girls and Women in Sports Day. That was earlier this week. And Adam, female athletics, women's athletics, I mean, you see the numbers there. Just incredible success for Carolina, really across the board, but especially when you're talking about women's athletics.
Carolina is one of the dominant places in the nation for women's athletics, and partially due to the contributions of the Rams Club, which, as we know, enables all those opportunities to happen. And they, of course, have their Forever Tar Heels initiative going on. This entire week, they've got some Forever Tar Heels events going on, a virtual retreat, so you can go to ramsclub.com and get more information about that. Of course, we're certain you're already a Rams Club member, but if you're not, worth checking out and trying to sign up.
Women's tennis, women's lacrosse, women's soccer, field hockey have all been ranked at #1 at some point in their seasons so far this year. So just continuing the tradition of excellence for female athletics here at Carolina. And speaking of women's tennis, the ITA Indoor National Championships coming up this weekend. And Adam, we talked to Alexa Graham recently here on the show. She and the team will be the #1 seed looking to take home an ITA Indoor National title.
They start out tomorrow morning, Friday morning at 10 a.m. against Ohio State. Tough field. Carolina's had a lot of success in that event. Certainly wish the team and, of course, our good friend Alexa Graham the best.
That's in Stillwater, Oklahoma, coming up this weekend. A little closer to home, just down the road in Carmichael. That's where Carolina women's basketball will be tonight. Tar Heels are hosting Florida State here in Chapel Hill. Carolina, as we've talked about here on the show, has kind of struggled to get its wheels moving again since taking a COVID break in the holiday time period, looking to get back on track against the Seminoles. That game again tonight in Carmichael for Courtney Banghart and her team. That leads us to men's basketball, Adam, and the Tar Heels did not get what they wanted earlier this week. The Heels had won 3 in a row, 6 of their last 7, and then had a break in the schedule, a kind of unexpected break because of COVID problems with other teams. The schedule had been shuffled around. Carolina hoped to fill that schedule this past weekend, never did, and so set on that successful win against Pitt for a week and came out looking like a team that had been sitting for a week against Clemson this past Tuesday.
Looked rusty. Clemson, of course, known for their defensive prowess this year. They're going to make things ugly and make them tough for you, but they had really not played well in their recent ACC games and, in fact, had been blown out multiple times. But Carolina just struggled. They turned the ball over too many times, 17 turnovers. They couldn't get to the offensive glass the way they're accustomed to doing. They only took 44 shots. Clemson took 13 more shots than Carolina. So unless you're shooting an incredibly high percentage, it's hard to win that way. And as you know, Carolina did not win, and that was a frustrating loss.
Had a tough time at the free throw line, too, where the Tar Heels were just around 50% last 3 games. Carolina shooting 49% at the free throw line, obviously a number that needs to improve if Carolina is going to be successful. And Adam, that leads us to this Saturday, always a big game, of course, when Carolina and Duke get together. This game big for maybe different reasons than this game is normally big. There isn't a #1 seed in the NCAA tournament or anything on the line, but both these teams right now need a win, and it'll be over in Cameron Saturday at 6 o'clock where they'll both try to get it.
It feels like Carolina is going to get lumped in with Duke in this game no matter what. People are going to describe this as some sort of elimination game or something for the NCAA tournament. Carolina's got a better resume than the Blue Devils right now. But if you go over there and lose this game, which we know will get a ton of national attention, the storyline will be Duke is back, Carolina's the one that's struggling. Carolina needs to play well on the road. They just need a good road performance. We know they struggled at Littlejohn earlier this week. No fans in Cameron Indoor Stadium, of course, so that'll be a very different experience. Tar Heels just need to play better.
11th ACC game for Carolina, the 7th of those 11 that has been away from Chapel Hill. They have not been at home very often, and it has been a difficult road at times. This is a big one coming up Saturday again at 6 o'clock, Carolina and Duke. Radio-wise for that one, we'll be on the air at 5 p.m. to get you ready for the Tar Heels and the Blue Devils. Well, somebody who knows a lot about Carolina-Duke matchups, big Carolina games, big Carolina moments, that's Marcus Paige. Adam and I had an opportunity to talk to Marcus a little bit earlier. We're going to get to that, come back, more to do here on the Carolina Insider.
This is why you're actually watching the show. Not for this, but because one of the all-time Roy Williams team members, Marcus Paige, here with us. Marcus, tell us where in the world you are. We're talking to you after a big victory, and catch us up on how things have been going.
Yeah, so I'm in Belgrade, Serbia. This is my 3rd season with Partizan. Played a couple years in the G League, and now, this is my 3rd year. And, we just won a big Europe game. We played 2 competitions, one regionally and then one all across Europe. We're actually in the same group as Luke May, so I got to see him a little bit ago. But we won a big game and just been living the dream, getting to see the world and playing basketball at a high level. So I'm definitely enjoying everything.
Yeah, Marcus, I was going to ask you, what's it been like? I mean, is it what you thought it would be to be a professional basketball player and all the different places you've been?
Yeah, I mean, when I played at Carolina, we went to the Bahamas, and we didn't ever take like a big trip to Europe or anything. So this was really my first experience like out in the world outside of the States. So I've really enjoyed it. Now that it's my third year in the same place, I've definitely gotten more comfortable here and gotten to see a bunch of cool cities and everything, and met a lot of cool people that I never would have been able to if had I not decided to do this. It was a little interesting, like my first year, getting used to being so far away from home and everything. But I would recommend it to anybody who's really wants to play at a high level, and maybe on the fence or on the fringe of being an NBA player, because this experience has been great. I've ran into a bunch of guys, Dion, Marcus Ginyard, Justin Knox. Like, you can run through the line of everybody, and I've crossed paths with them and everything, so it's been fun.
Marcus Ginyard, as we know, Jones, the mayor of Limoges, France,
Yeah.
according to him and his magazines. Marcus, one of the challenges people always tell us when they're overseas is figuring out how their time relates to Tar Heel time and watching the Tar Heels. What are some of the things you've had to do to keep up with the Heels?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times I just stay up. Like, I've missed the last few games of ACC play, but like earlier in this season, I caught basically every single game. I saw, the Texas game. I saw some of the bumps along the road, and I've seen that they started to play better recently. But even the last few seasons, I didn't necessarily play with any of these guys, but I still feel like I need to stay up and watch and follow along. And we got some group chats, like me, Luke, Kenny, Justin, Theo. Like, we got some different group chats where we talk about what's going on in the games and, the different guys and players and everything. So even though I never played with any of them, like, I still catch myself up at 2, 3 a.m. watching a game and rooting for these guys, because for whatever reason, it's just, I feel like I have to, and I really enjoy watching the young guys play.
Marcus, part of the reason we wanted to have you on, first of all, we always love to talk with you, but part of the reason we wanted to have you on is Carolina Duke coming up on Saturday for the first meeting of the season between those two teams. From somebody who's done it at a high level in that game, what's it like being a part of one of those?
It's a great feeling. I don't think there's many other comparable, aspects of college basketball than a Carolina Duke week. There probably isn't one. There definitely isn't one. And unfortunately, we only won 2 games against them, but those 2 wins were 2 of my favorite experiences in college. My sophomore year, we had the snow game where they didn't show up, and that was a really crazy experience. And then my senior year, to close out the ACC title, we played them and beat them. So everybody kind of remembers those Duke games, and guys can elevate their Carolina careers and have those moments where people will be talking about them forever in those games, regardless of how the season's going, regardless of how people are playing, and none of that matters as soon as it's Duke week.
One of the storylines for that game will be Carolina needing to get some good play from its young guards. That's been kind of a storyline throughout this year, is the ups and downs of the freshman guards. As someone who lived that, what advice would you give to people who are watching as Caleb Love and RJ Davis learn how to play the way Coach Williams wants them to play?
I mean, it's tough. I think people see like the 5-star ranking or whatever, and they put certain expectations on them without having seen them in practice, without having seen the way they interact with coach, without being able to properly evaluate how they fit with the team and all that stuff. And, our fans are passionate. They love the game, and they expect results instantly, which is fine because we're a blue blood. You kind of get used to that. But at the same time, I remember as a freshman, man, I struggled until maybe 10 games left in the season. And then I kind of got comfortable and hit my stride a little bit. But I had a whole summer to work out. I was on campus. I was with Jonas. I was doing all that. And I still struggled for the vast majority of my freshman year. And at some point it clicks, but it's different for everyone. Coach Rob used to tell me the same thing happened with Ty, same thing happened with Kendall, same thing happened with Ray. It's just it's not an easy job, and it's a lot of responsibility. And this year, there's a ton of talk of how talented our big man rotation is, and they're very good, and we're very deep up front. And a lot of the guards have been getting they've been bearing the most of the criticism, for example. But at the same time, they have the biggest responsibility. So I say just, let the young guys get their feet wet. And I love watching them play. I think Caleb's really good. The coaches kind of tell me RJ reminds them of me, which I think is cool. And I've been interested to see how he's developed and everything. So just give them a little time. And obviously they're talented. We see those moments that they have all the time. But just let them grow into that spot, because you don't always get a senior Joel Berry or Kobe White, who was just absolutely electrifying. But even him at the beginning took him a little time to adjust. So let's let these guys develop a little bit.
Somehow it was 5 years ago that Marcus Paige was a senior at Carolina. That's hard to believe. Marcus, now that you've had some time away, do you look at your time in Chapel Hill or at Carolina any differently, or does it mean something different to you now than maybe right when you got out?
I think, as you play professional ball, you run into a lot of guys you knew in high school, or guys that you competed against at any sort of level. You start to realize even more so how different the Carolina connection is. In my year, when I was on a two-way with Charlotte, anytime I ran into somebody who played at Carolina, whether they were older or someone that I was a teammate with, that connection is different, and people notice it, and people will tell you about it. They'll be like, "Man, you guys really are about that family life," and it's like, yeah, we are. This is who we are, and none of it is a facade or anything. And it's just funny to see people from other programs that are very prestigious be so impressed by that, because we, when you're in school, you kind of take it a little bit for granted. You just assume, it's the only experience so you just assume maybe other schools are like that, and then you realize that not everybody got the Carolina family experience that you got, and people really wish that they had. And I know I feel that way every time I run into another player. Like I said, I saw Luke a few weeks ago. Luke came to Belgrade. He had a tough game. I went and saw him after went to his hotel after the game. We stayed up and talked till 3, 4 a.m. just catching up on everything. And he's had a couple great games since. But just seeing each other and getting to catch up and everything really made both of our weeks. So just little stuff like that makes me more appreciative of it. As you get older, you get a little bit better perspective on your time in school. And I think now that I'm old, man, like you said, 5 years removed, I can see these young guys and, try to remember back to how crazy my mind was going in all these different directions in school, and just watching them develop and knowing that, knowing they're going to be all right in the end because of the guys that they get to be around every day. Our staff is so great about developing people into good men.
Marcus, did someone try and hurt you? We see the scratcher, because there are about 20 Tar Heel fans that will fly over there and take down that person if they need to. What happened? Yeah,
we played Jordan Crawford tonight. He a really good scorer. He caught me with the elbow coming off a pin down, but I get cut up and beat up a lot because I'm small, so I think it makes me look a little tougher.
So you got that Tar Heel fans, you go find Jordan Crawford. No, we're just joking. Marcus, always so great to see you, man. Appreciate you doing this. I know it's late where you are, so appreciate you staying up with us and chatting with us. Great to see you again. So glad you're having success, and always wonderful to talk with you. Hope things keep going well for you.
Yeah, thank you. It was a pleasure to be on the show.
We appreciate Marcus's time here on the show. Always great to catch up with him. And by the way, show's brought to you by Wells Fargo. And our communities need us. We are here to help. And our interviews presented by Coca-Cola, which taste better together, and a proud partner of Carolina Athletics. Let's go now. Adam, make sure your pulse is even if you're behind the wheel of the social drive. Let's take a look. And we're going to start with Carolina Duke coming up on Saturday. Found this one online, Adam. It's a little bit longer. It's more than a minute and a half, but we knew that anyone watching us right now would not object to 90 plus seconds of Jerry Stackhouse and Rasheed Wallace dunks in Cameron Indoor Stadium. Let's take a look.
He has to take either Parks or Meeks. Wallace! Back screen on Meeks. Oh, look at Wallace run. Wallace! Nice Wicker. His job is to play the minutes while Wallace on the bench. Oh, awesome. Stackhouse! Oh, my! Awesome play. Not many guys in the college level, if any, can do this. Goes underneath, gets fouled twice, and still jams.
Stackhouse is 6'6".
I think that Duke making a huge mistake with Cherokee Parks trying to guard him, Tim.
Parks is 6. Duke has taken it up a level on an 8-2 run. Wallace ends that, and he's fouled.
Excellent positioning by the first half. And still came back.
Nice pass to Wallace. And the finish. Deafening. Here's Williams. Oh, nice follow by Wallace.
And here's Wallace. That was a flush.
That puts a silencer on him. Florida State hit his first 5 threes. Here's McGinnis with a steal. Feeds Stackhouse and he slams it.
Stackhouse goes by. You knew it was coming.
Great first step. Nice pass to Wallace.
Yes. Yes. Adam's pulse is yet again quickened because, Adam, that was awesome. There were, of course, all that from the 1995 double overtime Carolina victory in Cameron Indoor Stadium, and a lot of pretty famous Tar Heel moments just in that package. The Stackhouse up and under, the Rasheed Wallace dunk over 2 or 3 Duke guys on the rebound, the alley-oop from McGinnis to Wallace, the stare down of the bench. That was, yes, there were some pretty impressive plays there.
Jones, Billy Packer thinks it may be a mistake for Duke to have Cherokee Parks guard Jerry Stackhouse.
Yeah.
He doesn't think that's going to work out. I know the Stackhouse dunk gets all the love. I think the most underrated dunk in that package is Rasheed Wallace catching the alley-oop in like mid-air in 2 hands, putting it in 1 hand while somehow doing his legs like he's running in mid-air and then slamming it through one-handed. It looked just like what I just did. Boom! That's an awesome dunk. And I can tell you that I practice doing that on Nerf goals more than I would like to admit.
I believe that was Eric Meeks who was having a tough time stopping Rasheed Wallace in that particular game. Tar Heels did go on to win that game, as we said, in double overtime, 102-100.
What? The Tar Heels won that game,
I know.
Jones?
Jeff Capel did hit a shot in that game that sent it to an extra overtime, but it's the play you never see. Jeff McGinnis picked Wojo's pocket and hit a jump shot that gave Carolina the win. So congrats, Jeff. All right, let's go from there to another underrated Tar Heel dunker, I think, in this clip, Adam, coming up. That is Kenny the Jet Smith. Of course, we know Kenny went on to a terrific pro career, 2-time world champion with the Houston Rockets, now doing a bunch of great stuff on TNT. And, Adam, this is a NCAA tournament game against Utah, and as Theo Pinson would say, watch your head, Jack, because that was quite a dunk. Even earned a technical foul there for Kenny Smith.
Why did Kenny Smith get a technical foul for that dunk? I guess for hanging on the rim. This is a sweet dunk that I don't think I've ever seen. He gives it the little look off. That's not.
He's protecting himself.
He's trying not to fall on that poor guy from Utah.
Come on, Lenny Wirtz.
Giving him some advance reverse payback for what's going to happen in 1998 that we don't ever want to think about. That's a really nice dunk.
I don't remember that game. At Weber State NCAA tournament?
That was back when you could randomly play lower-seeded teams like 100 miles from their campus.
Yeah, Tar Heels playing Utah in the state of Utah. But anyway, terrific clip there from Kenny Smith. Let's go now from some former Tar Heels, Adam, to a future Tar Heel from the eastern part of the state in Kinston, North Carolina, Dontrez Styles. And great to see, just Dontrez Styles back on the floor. He took a nasty fall a couple of weeks ago within the course of the action of a game. He missed a few weeks, returned to the court, and here's some footage of Dontrez and some comments from him from a local news station there in Kinston.
Man, exhausted. It's an understatement, man. I couldn't even breathe out there, but it felt good to be out there with my teammates, though, for sure. You know, the injury was scary, but I just want to be out here with my teammates. You know, we've been struggling, so I just wanted to help as much as I can, even if I have to struggle on the offensive side. You know, I can get rebounds, defend, block shots. I can do more things to score. You know, I struggled tonight on offense, but I'll get back in my groove soon. Just happy to be out here.
So number one, good to see Dontre Styles back able to play after, again, taking that scary fall a couple weeks ago. And Adam seems like somebody the Tar Heels are really going to, enjoy being on the team, and the Tar Heel fans are really going to like watching play.
Never go wrong betting on a Kinston basketball player.
Yeah, that's right.
And also always love having those in-state Tar Heels. They just understand what it's about just a little tiny bit more. So looking forward to seeing him in Chapel Hill.
All right, let's get to some NBA updates because the Tar Heels continue to play well there, and that includes Cole Anthony here recently for the Orlando Magic with an impressive play to get us started, to say the least. And you always know that Cole was athletic. Let's take a look. You see here on the miss, Cole, gracious, with the putback against Toronto. Adam, that's you want to show us your version of that one too, like you showed us the version of Rasheed Wallace?
I don't always understand the jerseys that NBA teams are wearing now. So that's the Magic, but they're wearing why are they wearing yellow numbers?
Yeah, maybe it's their city jerseys, Adam. Here's shooting from long distance from a different city. That's Cam Johnson. He made 7 threes in that game. As you can see, it makes the bench excited, including Devin Booker, who was at a Nirvana concert before that started. And then Adam, Nasir Little. Great to see Nasir back healthy. He missed a big chunk of action early in the year with some COVID problems. Unfortunately, actually after this game, has a bit of a knee issue. But during this game against Milwaukee, goodness, 30 points for Nasir.
You can even tell in these clips, he just looks more comfortable. It's coming more seamlessly, so you hate to see that season get interrupted by the injury.
Also, as we've seen Nasir make one more, Harrison Barnes having a terrific year to this point for Sacramento. We decided to add a little assist in here. Harrison can do more than score, and with a nice pass there to former Duke player Marvin Bagley for the bucket. And so good to see Harrison doing that. And also, Adam, as he always has done, Harrison Barnes thinking about things outside of just basketball. And we'll let Harrison explain his new initiative.
Hey, everyone. If you know me, you know I'm passionate about financial literacy. That's why for Black History Month, I've partnered with Goal Setter, a Black-owned, woman-owned app that is set out to close the wealth gap for Black and brown people. I'm drafting 500 kids from Bill Black in Sacramento and T.L. Marcellus Elementary School in Dallas by opening up savings accounts for 500 kids to get them started.
Adam, very expected from Harrison Barnes. Always thinking about others, always reaching out to the community, and again, having a long and successful pro career, but also doing more than just being a good player on the court.
He's averaging almost 17 points a game and over 6 rebounds a game this year, having one of his better years in recent memory. But that kind of thing, he doesn't have to do that. It's easy to just cash your check and go enjoy your nice life and go to the gym every day. But he's finding a way to make a difference in other ways, and that, as Jones said, is something he's always tried to do.
All right, let's change gears from basketball to football, and we'll start in the Senior Bowl. And really one of the breakout players in the Senior Bowl was Tar Heel running back Michael Carter. Finished with 10 touches, 75 yards, and a touchdown. Let's take a look at the touchdown in which Michael got a little help from his teammates.
There we go. 3rd and 3 now. Carter up the middle. Michael Carter with room to run and power as well to finish.
Still going.
Look at him go.
He's still going. Get that Carolina helmet in the end zone.
Yeah, get that Carolina helmet in the end zone. I'm not sure Michael's feet were actually on the ground there for the last 2 yards or so, but whatever, it counts.
That looked like they were like carrying me into the end zone. Like, Adam, hold the ball, we'll propel you into the end zone. But Michael Carter had a great game. Seemed like he helped himself during Senior Bowl week and has been one of the most talked about running backs coming out of that event.
Absolutely. On almost every list, every analyst who saw the practices and then the game, as far as guys who stood out, Michael Carter was on every one of them. So terrific news for him. We know we've had him on the podcast before, just a terrific person. Wish nothing but the best for him, and it looks like he has positioned himself well for the next step, which is exciting to see. Speaking of the next step, how is TJ Yates now old enough to be a coach in the NFL? I don't even know how that happened, but Adam, there we go. TJ Yates joining Arthur Smith's staff in Atlanta as the passing game coach. Excited to see TJ have some success at the coaching level. And check out this tweet, pretty neat here. So that means TJ Yates could have beaten Matt Ryan, backed him up as a member of the Falcons, coached him now, and then potentially coach whoever comes after Matt Ryan at that position. But great to see now a couple of Tar Heels involved with the Falcons, with Arthur Smith at head coach and TJ Yates being a part of the staff.
Falcons going to be easy to root for. TJ Yates, if Arthur Smith needs someone to find out the very limit of the rules to which he can exploit them to help his team win at the very end of a game, just talk to TJ Yates. He's got some experience in that field. It was legal at the time. That's all that matters.
So TJ Yates still is Carolina's all-time passing leader when it comes to yards, but Sam Howell is closing in with a fury. He needs just 2,100 more yards through the air to pass TJ, but at least for one more offseason, TJ Yates' name still at the top of that list for the Tar Heels. All right, Adam, I'm going to let you explain this last one because you found this one out there involving somebody that we talk about a lot here on the video pod, and that is Michael Jordan. And Adam, take us through this. It's two things that I know you know a lot about, Michael Jordan and golf.
Yeah, this is right in my wheelhouse. So basically, Michael Jordan was a member of Jack Nicklaus's golf club in Florida, and he got tired of the slow play. I also cannot abide that. So he basically just went out, bought some land, and made his own golf club, the Grove 23, which has become this unbelievable golf club that has fewer than 100 total members. When you're out on the course, the food and beverage is delivered to you by drone, which is exactly the way Jones likes it done over at UNC Findlay. It's in Hobie Sound, Florida, opened in 2019. That's the clubhouse that you see there, and at some part in the clubhouse, there's that elephant print that's on the Michael Jordan's airplane and also on one of the early Jordan shoes. It's got a Black Panther statue outside of it. It's just your typical golf club.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get invited down to Hobie Sound, Florida. MJ.
So you haven't been? How do you think I knew all that stuff?
How do you think we got these photos anyway? Oh, well, a terrific way to end it, as we can dream that one day we'll be down there and swinging the clubs with the greatest. So we look forward to seeing you next week. A couple of busy things coming up. Carolina plays basketball-wise 2 times in 3 days. It is the Duke game that we talked about Saturday in Durham. Then Carolina back at home after that, facing Miami in Chapel Hill on Monday night. So a quick turnaround for 2 important games for the Tar Heels. We'll talk about that and a lot more next week on the Carolina Insider.
See you later, Big Grit.